Bambiz presents Elder Law Growth, the podcast where we share what's actually working in elder law and estate planning marketing straight from the team behind it. Let's get to it. Welcome back to the Elder Law Growth podcast presented by Bambiz, the team that helps elder law and estate planning attorneys grow their firms, fill their workshops, and connect with their communities using marketing that actually works. Learn more at bambiz.net. This season's going to look a little different, and we're really excited about that as a team. So you won't be hearing from Jim this season, and as a team, we've decided to take a step closer to the day-to-day, the real conversations, the real challenges, and the real patterns we're seeing as we work directly with attorneys and their teams every single day. So instead of staying high level, we're getting down into the nitty-gritty, what's actually working, what's not, and what we're seeing behind the scenes across firms just like yours. You'll be hearing a lot more from me, Nicole, along with Jason, and we'll also be bringing in some really great conversations with industry partners, experts, and even members of our own team who are in the trenches every single day. And today, I'm joined by two of those team members, Maren, our head of client success, and Chelsea, our senior account manager here at Bambiz. They work closely with our Plus, Pro, and even Premier clients and have a front row seat to what's really happening inside the law firm marketing. So let's dive in. Okay, welcome Chelsea and Maren to the Elder Law Growth Podcast. This is your first time on the podcast. How are we feeling?
Great.
Good. Okay, well, I think a great place to start is just pulling back the curtain a little bit. So because you are both in it every single day, you're talking to the attorneys, you're talking to their teams, you're seeing what's working and what's not in real time. So let me just ask you this. What's something about managing a law firm marketing that would actually surprise the attorneys that are listening?
I think it's been actually quite creative. When you think of like law firm marketing, I think firms like to put themselves in a box and think they can only do certain things or present themselves in a certain way, but I think that it can get super creative. We have one client who uses like Wonder Woman a lot, and so I think that there's little things you can do to really highlight your firm's personality, your team's personality, and I think that's what really sets some of the law firms apart is when they're able to kind of take, team culture or something they're really passionate about and integrate it into their marketing. So that's what makes it fun for us is it can be a lot more creative than people think.
Wow, that's a good take. I think to the flip side, actually, I think a counterpoint to that is that sometimes I think marketing can get a little bit boring, especially when we're repeating the same thing 100 times. It can, once you've been doing it for a while, I can see how that might get boring. But in reality, repetition is what gets people in the door and, really works in terms of messaging and branding. So I say counterpoint. I think while it can be really creative, at the same time, I think it can be a little boring too. So we're not always looking for the newest and greatest thing. I think instead of 100 different things, you see the same thing 100 different times. So of course, find your spin on it, but
the honesty, I love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
What a counterpoint I have. Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, there's only so many ways you can, market elder law and estate planning. So at some point you're gonna, content cycle and,
Yes.
do the same things over and again. But building on that, what's a situation that like you've both seen where you guys immediately thought like you're in this like onboarding thing or whatever that like this is exactly why this attorney's marketing isn't working. Like what they're doing now, this is exactly why it's not working.
I would say something I see a lot during onboarding, and it's not like a direct impact of the marketing not working, but it's an impact of like conversions and just the whole funnel not working, is really tracking. So if you have like a broken tracking system of like how you're tracking these workshop attendees, how you're tracking ROI of any sort of case value, I think if that's broken, what it signals to us is we can't lean in where it's working. So we can't make educated, data-driven decisions. So I think that is something that I see all the time. Tracking's hard, working with CRMs is difficult, tech is difficult, but without that support, the marketing efforts are not going to be as effective as they could be.
Yeah. For me, I'd say engagement. I see firms that are really excited and want to be hands-on and want to implement those kind of systems, and they want to understand what they can do to be better. I think engagement is huge. I think the clients that really succeed right off the bat are engaged. They are asking questions. They want to know what they can do to make this as successful as possible. So marketing is not a set it and forget it. It's, has to be engaged.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, leaning into that, talking about where you see clients succeed, can you usually tell pretty early on, like, if this person is going to succeed in their marketing, like with us? Like, are they going to go far, or is it just kind of like up in the air of like, we never really know?
I think you can pretty easily, after a few onboarding calls, a few conversations, see the firms that are going to put in the initial effort to be successful. I would say a lot of like the myths about working with a marketing agency is that you onboard and like it's hands off and you don't have to do anything. The most successful firms are going to be the ones that are engaged, the ones that are like willing to dive in and like fix their tracking or give us the data we need.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. And I think too, there's also a level of, I think really successful firms have people at their firm that are client centric. So the people that are actually getting on the phone will, you know, offer to send the registrant step-by-step directions on a phone call. Even though it might take 30 minutes, but they're really going that extra mile for customer success because that's, you know, you're servicing these people. I think if you have some really client-centric folks, that usually really pushes the needle in terms of successful events and getting people and getting new clients.
Yeah, and it's a super minute detail, but like if you're on the phone giving somebody step-by-step directions, that's a qualified lead. Like even though it might be painful and it might be something that takes 30 minutes out of your day instead of, you know, doing something that is a little bit more high level, like that is somebody who's probably going to show up and they're going to take the effort to show up. They've already taken the step-by-step directions and handwritten them or whatnot. And when they get there, they're probably going to make an appointment.
Yes.
Yeah, there's something to be said about somebody that wants every single piece of effort from you, and then they show up, like that could end up being your best client.
Yeah, absolutely.
But on the flip side, let's just get a little fun with it. Give me 2 green flags for a client. Like you get a new client, what's 2 green flags? And then on the opposite side of that, what's 2 red flags in a client?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
Maybe I'll start with this one.
Do it.
I think right off the bat, usually we invite clients to do an onboarding call or an introduction call, something of like, let's connect and meet for the first time. I think the eagerness and again, the engagement, wanting to schedule that right off the bat usually is a great indicator. I tend to see when clients kind of put this on the back burner, they think, oh, you know, I signed up and, you know, suddenly all the pieces will fall together. And I think really connecting with us so that we can learn about your firm from your perspective, we can understand who's on your team, that is going to go a long way into making this successful so that we can better understand your team, who you are, what your goals are. So I think getting an introduction call right off the bat is a green flag. But do you want to do your green flag?
Yeah, so mine is going to be like a green flag, red flag, so I'm just going to go for it.
A yellow. She's a yellow
Well,
flag.
I don't know. No, it's like the way I would say it. So it's the personality you show on the first call. If you are upbeat and outgoing and friendly, green flag. If you are a little bit standoffish, a little bit quiet, more of a red flag, because most likely how you're presenting yourself to us during that first call is probably how you're presenting to clients.
Right.
Ooh, good point.
So
That's true.
green or red flag there.
Great point. It's first impressions do matter a lot of times with people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when they're picking up the phone. Who is talking to your clients?
Right.
What are they saying?
Also too, like kind of in a green red flag situation of like just in general, like if they're excited when they get on a call with us, that's usually like they're excited to do things, they're excited to give us more, they're excited to brainstorm, listen to what we have to say. But then on the other side, if they're not excited, it's like, do you really want to be here? Do you really want to work with us? Or are we just testing the waters essentially? Yeah. So I think that could be both. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah,
because you have to want to do it. Like there is going to be things we ask of you. There's going to be things we need to even get started, even on our more hands-off kind of programs. Like there's a 30-day period where we're going to be asking you questions. We want to make sure we're aligned with kind of who your firm is. We're going to need you to give us access to stuff or figure out how to get us access to stuff. So you have to want to do it.
Yes.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
What about a red flag from you?
Oh, red flag. This is a hard one. I don't know. I don't know if I have red flags off the bat. I like to give a lot of people the benefit of the doubt right away.
Yeah.
That's, especially with clients, I think that if they're willing to learn, anyone can be a learner, and if they're willing to talk and understand, because we have worked with so many people over such a long period of time. We know the tried and true practices. I think red flags honestly come later on, if we're going to be honest. Hopefully we've met by that point. Hopefully you've done your onboarding. red flags when we get a little bit deeper into things come up again with, you know, I've spoken with registrants who said, I spoke with this firm, that lady was so mean to me on the phone. I'm not going to be working with them. And I'm like, okay, well, red flag.
Yeah, red flag.
Red flag.
Throw it up right there.
Yeah.
Where's the guy?
So I think usually once we're a little bit deeper into things and I understand the processes that are actually happening at the firm, what they're actually doing that's out of my control, that might be affecting your marketing, right? Because we can get registrants, but then it is part on, you know, what you're doing as a firm that really is going to be, at the end of the day, who's going to book services with you.
I mean, yeah, it goes back to what you were saying before, client, like you need those client-focused people, the ones that want to talk to the people, that want to, you know, be really invested. So, yeah, I think this is a red flag in a sense. If you don't have client-focused people in a practice where you're working directly with people who are, you know, in major decisions in their life, then probably not gonna grow like you want to grow.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, okay. Well, let's. I want to get into something really practical, right? So, if you were to take over a firm's marketing today, right? So, like we're doing workshops for them, or we're, you know, doing everything for them in a sense. What are the first things that you're fixing in the first 30 to 60 days? Like, what are we looking at first?
Ooh, okay. It's been a major topic for me. Well, I guess both of us. But in the first 30 days, if you do not have like a good sales process for like workshops specifically, that's something I want to dive into, because why would you keep spending ad money if you're not able to get those appointments? You know,
right.
We have a ton of tips and tricks we help clients with, you know, keeping the calendar open just the 2 weeks after the workshops. That way it kind of helps those high cancellation rates if you push out past those 2 weeks. So there's a lot of tips and tricks we have, but in the first 30 days, that's what I really want to see, is like honing in on like, okay, the workshop happened, now what? Like, what's the process to get these people in the door? 60 days then would be tracking. I know I mentioned it. But if we're going to keep doing workshops, like, let's track the thing. Let's get the case values.
Right.
Let's see like your attendance rate, your appointment rate, because we can also tell you like, hey, don't go back to that venue, or don't go back to that area. If it has a high cost per household on our end and you get a low attendance rate and a low conversion, it's not worth it. But if you get a high cost per household and you get, you know, 50 grand from cases in it, then it's definitely worth it to pay to get more of those types of people in the seats. So yeah, I think definitely sales process and tracking is the biggest pain points I see when onboarding clients.
Good one. I'm gonna go back to the people on your team.
Yeah.
I think if you don't have someone who's dedicated to answering the phone, calling registrants, calling these people, if you don't have a person in that position that is like killer at their job, or you don't have anyone in that position at all, time to start hiring. Time
to look into some of those AI and automations. Like,
yeah.
That's something.
That's true, yes. Because the more touch points we found with people, the better it is. I mean, you'll get one in a blue moon who says, stop calling me, stop texting me. And those people do exist, but then for the other 99% of the people that are out there, you're staying top of mind.
Right.
I mean, those are usually, you know, that same messaging over and over and over again. That's what gets people to convert at the end of the day. So making sure that all of those touch points are seamless, kind, inviting, you know, they're excited to come work with you, that's huge.
That's also a huge misconception that I think we've actually heard a lot, is like, I don't want to be sending this person 17 different touch points. Okay, but like, they might want 17 different touch points. They might not like a phone call, but they might like a text message. They might not do either of those, but they might like an email. You might think you're doing too much, but I think that's probably one of the things that can show them if they're growing or they're going to be stuck where they are. Like, are you willing to get a little uncomfortable?
Yes,
to get where you want to be? So, yeah.
We can't make everyone happy, right? There's no one, you know, there are some people that are not going to want to work with you naturally.
Yeah.
Then the other, again, the 99% of those other people are going to be excited to work with you.
Yeah. So the 30 days for you would be like getting your team focused, getting them like talking to the people, getting them tracking those things like Marin was talking about.
Yeah.
But then what do they do with the 60 days? They got the people in place, right? They're doing the workshops, they're doing the things. What happens in 60 days for them?
I think that's when you grow then. If let's say, my goodness, you go to 60 days, you have a killer team, you're converting over half of the people at every workshop at least. you're getting people to show up to these workshops, right, by working with us, I hope. And you're killing it, then I think time to onboard a new attorney. I mean, like, that's how you level up your firm, right?
Right.
Is that you do very good things at a low level, and then you take whatever is working for you and you duplicate it, right?
So like 60 days, they're not the person doing everything anymore.
Yes.
They're not the person delegating anymore. They're putting someone in place and moving forward and growing, adding their team.
Yeah, absolutely.
More workshops.
Yeah.
And we see that happen a lot. I mean, there's a lot of people that do that differently, right? So
Yeah.
maybe there is an attorney who has a son that's getting out of law school and passed the bar. I mean, have Junior do your workshops for you, right? And
Train them that way.
There's a lot of different ways you can approach that, onboard a new person. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen a lot of combinations that work very well, but I think that if you really are hitting all those points, you have a killer team. You're converting, you have the workshop process nailed down, you have your follow-up process after that also nailed down, right? Where you can take on more volume, then it's a signal to grow.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
I also think let's step back and let's set some like realistic expectations for people, because I think probably one of the common things that we've seen is some misconceptions, like people want quick fixes, right? They want to see immediate things that happen. So what's something that feels like, so like they come to you, maybe they're in the sales process or maybe they're in onboarding, right? So what's something that feels like it should be a quick fix, but it actually isn't? And then on the flip side of that, what's something that's like really small that they could do that could make a big impact on their firm?
Something comes to mind for me immediately is that usually everyone's first workshop is their worst.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people are like, oh, workshops, easy peasy, right? There's a lot more that goes into it than you think, surprisingly. I think that once I start talking to clients, and I start saying, you're going to maybe want to have, a calendar in the back of the room, 2 weeks blocked out. You want to have a staff member, the eyes start to open a little bit. Like, oh, wow. Yeah. You're saying I can't just go into that room and host
and stand in front of the room and go, hire me.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I can't just stand and talk and then 60 people are going to run up to me and say, I need your services. That's just unfortunately not how it works, right? And that's just the hard reality of it. And I think that once we start talking to people about, you can have some big ideas for how this is going to look in fruition. I think, that's when reality starts to set in.
Yeah.
I think something that is probably interpreted as a quick fix, but is not actually a quick fix, is really on our end, but I think it's good for clients or law firms to have this understanding, is cost per household. So if your cost per household is high, it's never going to be a quick fix to get it down. We are pulling so many different levers on the back end of optimizations, of targeting, demographics, changing the audience. And that's something you have to do a tweak. You have to wait 24 to 48 hours to see if it works.
Right.
So I think that's something where it's really easy to see that the cost per household might be trending down each day. And you're like, oh, that's a quick fix. No, it's truly not. It takes time.
Takes time and effort. Yeah. I don't think people realize that like it's even as simple as like changing the color, like on a graphic that you put out, and changing nothing else to see if that works. Like
then you have to wait.
Yeah,
just sit tight.
It's a waiting game. It takes a lot of patience, and I think that definitely is like a quick fix that they think. Something that we were talking about the other day that I was thinking about is SEO. People expect it to work so quickly. Like, okay, we put keywords out there, like, where's all my leads at? But I think that that's something that people don't understand is like, could take a year, could take 9 months. Like, it takes a long time to get started, and I think people want website traffic immediately when they've been doing nothing. And I think, building it from scratch and like, that's something else too.
Yeah.
I think quick fixes firms can make today is build a digital presence.
Yeah.
The first thing people are going to do when they hear about you is look you up online. They're going to try to find your Instagram, your Facebook.
Yep.
They're going to try and understand a little bit more about your firm. And if that is not something that's being actively posted on, you are shooting yourself in the foot. They want to get a better understanding of your firm. So I think a quick fix is start posting today. I mean, it can be very basic things like meet our attorney, meet our team. But at least you have a presence. They can see that you're online, you're taking your brand seriously, and that you are trying to reach, different people out there.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I think another quick fix kind of going off of that is just get the Google business profile. I've worked with firms who get so intimidated. They're like, how do you start it? And I'm like, you literally Google business profile.
Respond to reviews.
Respond to reviews is another great one. Or even post on your Google business profile. So get the Google business profile and then utilize all the features. It's very fast and very user friendly. The dashboard, like the interface is very user friendly. I think it probably takes 30 seconds to set up, and then you might have to go through a verification process, which maybe takes 5 minutes of your time when you're in office, but I think that's a really quick fix. That's how people find you.
I also think too, just something that like is a quick fix, but makes a big impact is like your team members not doing every little tiny job, right? Because then you burn out one person, but like think about you just have this one set person that's like their whole job is intake, right? That's all they do. Things don't get missed. People don't get missed. People feel taken care of. And then it makes a big impact in the long run because then these clients feel happy. They don't have the conversations of like, your team was mean to me, right? Yes. So that's just one thing I think is a quick fix that could be huge. But
yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's wrap this up a little bit. We're getting close to time. So if you had to give just one tip or like one thing that you would recommend to a firm to just take a really hard look at, right? At this like exact moment, their marketing isn't working, they're feeling frustrated, they're doing all the things and trying all the things, but what's one tip that you would give them, like take a hard look at this one thing and fix this first? What would that be?
I think your receptionist. Take a hard look at your receptionist.
Amen.
Have someone like have a friend fake call and just like pretend.
Yeah.
You know, are they answering phone with a smile? Because like you can hear that. So I think taking a really hard look at the people you have in certain seats at the firm and making sure that they are doing what is needed, because that's like the first defense right there.
Right.
Is whoever's answering the phone, that is the first person somebody's going to come into contact with. And if they're rude or if they sound like they just want to go home and take a nap, then I don't want to come into that firm.
No, I don't want to go to that workshop.
Exactly.
People.
Yep.
Yeah. I also think too, maybe on that side of it is like making sure the person's in the right job, because you can have great people, right? But maybe that person that's sitting at your receptionist is not the person you want talking to everybody, but maybe they're like a genius on tech stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe they know how to hook up the Google business and they know how to set the stuff, you know, and do all the things on the back end. So yeah, I think that's really good.
Yeah, and I would say my last thing is, you know, while it is great to have a team and it's great to have a hardworking team, at the end of the day, I think be available, be willing to jump on a call, be willing to jump on with the client. I mean, at the end of the day, it's typically you're the face of your firm. And so, you know, if things escalate or someone asks a more specific question, being like, hey, this is maybe out of our best practices, but I wanted to get on a call with you, answer some of your questions, because, you know, sometimes it takes that little bit of expertise that maybe just a receptionist at your firm wouldn't have. And I really do think that like showing them that you're willing to go the extra mile to get on a call and answer maybe some more specific questions, again, could go a really long way in really converting people and working with them. So don't be afraid to once in a while, you know, be willing to jump in where needed.
Well, that's all we have for today's episode of the Elder Law Growth Podcast, brought to you by Bambiz. If you're ready to grow your firm using marketing that actually works, visit bambiz.net. And a huge thank you to Marin and Chelsea for pulling back the curtain a little bit today and being really honest and sharing what they're seeing every day working with these firms that are just like yours. And if you got value from this episode, please make sure to follow the show and leave a review. It helps more attorneys like you find us. Until next time, keep growing, keep learning, and keep showing up for your community. We'll see you on the next episode. That's a wrap on another episode of the Elder Law Growth Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things marketing for elder law and estate planning law firms. Here you can find all of the tools and skills you need to market your own practice without wasting your time. If you like this podcast, please leave us a review wherever you're listening. And if you're ready to take the pressure off and let our team handle your marketing, visit bambiz.net and book a free call with us today.